Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What? What? Is this for real? Is this really happening? Did they just win their 7th straight game? Did they really just go on the road and beat the Washington Capitals 5-2 in that hostile environment while losing their third-line left winger, JVR, who has 19 goals? He broke his hand in the first period. Did they really do this with their backup netminder in between the pipes? Now, that's no knock on Moose. That's definitely no knock on Brian Elliott. He has had a tremendous season so far with the Flyers. But my point is, with those three key pieces, the hostile environment factor, the losing a big-time player who has 19 goals on the season, and the reason why we continue to bring up scoring depth and the lines and how deep they are up front, and with your backup netminder in, that's a phenomenal win. Now, there's some things that I will nitpick throughout, but still, I loved their effort. I loved how hard they competed. This game was so crucial. You are talking about either a 1-point differential when it comes to first place in the Metro, or 5. If they were to lose, they would be 5 points back from the Caps. So for them to win this game and only be 1 point behind, that's insane. That's crazy. The Flyers got underneath their skin. You got Tom Wilson dropping the mitts twice, and we are talking about a different era of hockey. 2020, we see a guy go out there and drop the mitts twice. Now, he plays right on the edge. Sometimes he crosses it. Sometimes he's right there. Sometimes he's a goal scorer. Like, he's a very interesting player. Would I like him on the Flyers? Do I like that grit? Absolutely, I do. But he does cross the line a lot. And for the Flyers to really be pests and to get under his skin and to really make him do things that, really were emotional, I thought that was good for the Flyers to an extent. To an extent. It shows that they were able to really get in his head, because what Tom Wilson did in this game, 2 fights, I feel like that's taking away from maybe what he can do when it comes to scoring or playmaking. It's almost as if he was so focused on that side of the game, the physicality side and, the fighting, which sometimes works to his advantage. I don't think it did in this game, because I feel like Wilson was so focused, heavily focused on that side, it took away from what he can do production-wise when it comes to putting the puck in the net or playmaking or things like that. The chirping, the hostility, it was a key piece to why I think the Flyers won this game. Now, there's a lot to talk about, but before we do, we need to hear a word from my sponsor, SeatGeek. Are you looking to go to a Flyers game? Well, you should, because they are deserving. I mean, really, they are. They are must-watch television. So if you use the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page, you get $20 off your total purchase, which is a no-brainer to use the promo code BROADS today. That's essentially free parking at Jetro. All right. So I didn't like the first period. I didn't. I thought the Flyers took too many penalties and they were in the box too much. Scott Lawton with a stupid penalty early in the game, 1 or 2 minutes into the game, you're going to give that squad, that powerful, lethal power play opportunities that quickly into the game. Luckily, the Flyers killed it off, and they killed off all 5 penalties that they took, so that was a phenomenal thing to see. But you have Lawton in the box early, you have Justin Braun in the box early, then you have Kevin Hayes taking a penalty while the Flyers were actually on the power play up by the blue line. It was a holding call while the Capitals could have had a shorthanded opportunity. He felt the need to get in the way and hook him, interference. I forget exactly what the call was, but ultimately it was the same result anyway, so who cares? You're in the box way too much. They actually got the power play that I just talked about where Kevin Hayes took the penalty when Nate Thompson stepped up and fought Tom Wilson. I like that move. You get this acquisition at the deadline. He's a fourth-line guy. He's a veteran. He decided, let me take on this guy. Let me step up for the boys. Let me show the locker room I'm here for him. And he ended up dropping the mitts with Tom Wilson. I wouldn't say anyone really won. It was just one of those ones where you see some punches thrown, nothing insanely big when it comes to landing any, and then one person falls on top of the other, and the boys start banging the sticks, and the people start start banging the glass. And speaking about the people there, how many Flyers chants did you hear? I felt like there were more fans, Philadelphia Flyers fans there than they are at the Wells Fargo Center. I've been to so many Flyers games this year, and it's been quiet. It's been dead. I heard more noise down there in Washington, D.C. than I did at the Wells Fargo Center every game I attended so far this season. So how about that? But the Flyers fans clearly traveled well, or they live there, because Washington, D.C. is somewhat of an area where not everyone is actually from that spot. It's a lot of people who work there and live there now, and it's a place where I would say a lot of people travel there and live there based off of, jobs or something like that. So maybe that had something to do with it. Anyway, the first period ended, and it was 1-0 Caps. They scored a goal. Lars Ellers gets a really nice pass, and he was solo on Moose, and there was really nothing Brian Elliott could do. It was a nice move. It was a nice pass to give him the puck in that wide-open spot, and he delivered. So 1-0 Flyers after the first period. It wasn't as if they weren't working hard. They were competing. They had chances in that period. But when you give that team so many chances on the power play, you're taking away from 5-on-5 play, and you need to be out there 5-on-5. I think the Flyers can skate with that team when they are full strength. When you start going in the box consistently, and I didn't like the penalties either. They weren't roughings or tough play. It was lazy, stupid penalties. And the refs were calling a ton of crap throughout the night, and that pretty much segues perfectly into the second period because the Capitals took 3 straight penalties, and I thought some of them were bogus. The first one was a Kuznetsov slash on Kevin Hayes. Then there was the too many men on the ice call, which I'm using air quotes because TJ Oshie picked up the puck in the offensive zone, and when you looked at the replay, the player, I forget exactly who it was on the Capitals who was making the change for TJ Oshie, he was on the bench. He was actually on the bench through the doors while the referees decided to blow the whistle and make that a penalty. That was a trash call, and the Flyers got lucky. After that, there was a Hathaway high stick. That one actually was a high sticking. My point, though, is the Flyers had so many chances right from the jump of the second period to get on the board. They eventually did, but did they? Because Travis Konecny ended up getting a puck on net. He was in the high slot, juicy spot to throw the biscuit on net and hope he makes the save, but he's past the goal line. He's in the net. The refs call it no goal on the ice, and you couldn't actually see in the replay where the puck was at any time until Hopi made the save, pushed himself forward, and then kicked the puck or swept the puck out of the net. I mean, it was clearly a goal. It was just a technicality that whatever was ruled on the ice could not be overturned, sadly. But here's the thing. Puck doesn't lie. Instantly, the Flyers score on that power play. A rebound pops out to TK on the left side, and he slams it home to tie the game up 1-1. It was such a big moment for this team to tie it right up. As soon as you have a goal and you feel like you tie it up, the Flyers or the referees take it away. How do you respond? You do. You just do. Instantly. The same person cashes in instantly. Remarkable. In the same period, this play was gross, and I mean gross. You have Grant, net front, mucking and grinding. Another new acquisition, doing this thing by the blue paint, playing third line center. What does he do? He uses his foot to make a remarkable pass backdoor to Kevin Hayes. As the puck is going on net, he uses his foot to kick it backdoor and put it perfectly right on Kevin Hayes' stick, who buries the biscuit 2-1. Aube-kubel gets an assist as well. Now it's a 2-1 hockey game. And how about Aube-kubel? This kid is legit. For his role, he is legit. He's so much fun to watch. He's fast. He has hockey IQ. He can move the puck well. The kid does it all, and I'm so proud, and I really am. I'm so proud of what he has developed into. As much as we hated what Ron Hextall was doing as a whole because it was taking him long to bring up these young cats, he built this thing. And someone else has stepped in and making it work. Now, give credit to Chuck Fletcher for offseason moves, give credit to Alain Vigneault and Chuck Fletcher for hiring Alain Vigneault and the coaching staff, because Ron Hextall was not doing that part of it. But when you talk about what he built when it comes to prospects and young kids and the money and the cap, Ron Hextall built this thing and someone else stepped in to finish the job. Now, you still have to give credit to the people finishing the job because that's half the battle, but Ron Hextall really did build it, and it's crazy to start seeing it develop into what it is. So 2-1 Flyers. It's now 3-1 Flyers after Grant and Raffle are moving the puck around. It ends up on Tyler Pitlick's stick, who buries it past Braden Holtby. And Holtby has had a weird season for the Caps. At times, it was bad. At times, it was good. And in this game, I thought he was I just thought the Flyers as a whole played better than the Capitals, and his numbers don't look great after the game, but I wouldn't say it was really on Holtby. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. He was just mediocre. It was more on what the Flyers did to the Capitals as a team. I thought they worked harder. I thought they had better chances. I thought they executed down the stretch more and things like that. It wasn't so, Holtby stunk or Holtby had a brutal game. Anyway, 3-1, depth scoring. Grant, Raffle, Pitlick on the score sheet for that goal. This is where I got nervous. It's a 3-2 game. Scott Lawton decides to drop past the puck right inside the offensive blue line, and it goes the other way with about 1:30 left in the second period. Hathaway scores. Tom Wilson gets the assist. You can't do that. That is such a bad goal to give up. That is a brutal goal to give up. You have possession. You're going in the offensive zone. You're up 2 goals. All you got to do is hold the lead. Hold the 2-goal lead going into the third period. It's that simple. You can't be making boneheaded decisions. You can't be turning the puck over right inside the gray area, right inside the blue line when you're talking about the offensive zone with that much clock left in the period. Just no way. No way. Either skate the puck behind the goal line or make a play towards the net or do whatever. Stall, wait for a player to drive the net, do something else. But you cannot, and I mean you cannot allow for that to happen. So as soon as that occurred, Tom Wilson took a late run at Claude Giroux. Robert Haig stepped up for the captain, and it was no contest. Robert Haig is not a fighter, all right? He was just stepping up for his captain, and he fought Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson pummeled Robert Haig, but that's realistically what should have happened. That made a ton of sense. Tom Wilson is a fighter. He's a goon. Robert Haig can't fight whatsoever. So it made sense that that was the outcome. At the time, I hated the decision by Robert Haig. You just allowed the Capitals to come back into the game. It's still the second period. They just scored a big goal to make it 3-2, and now you're getting that building energized and juiced up and going crazy and just giving them extra momentum. You know you're going to get pummeled. I get you're standing up for your captain and you're trying to just prove a point like you don't do that to Claude Giroux, but I still think you need to pick and choose your time on when to do that. Now that I have hindsight and I realized that that wasn't the case and the Flyers stepped on the gas pedal in the third period and the Caps didn't come back, it's a lot easier to say, well, it wasn't that bad, but during that moment, I didn't like it. That just opened the door and it opened the window to allow the Caps to get extra motivation that there was no reason for them to have. Give them some cross checks, let them know, you can do it without actually dropping the mitts and throwing punches. I just thought timely situations are important. And I didn't like that one. I like stepping up for your captain. I think you can go after him. Just because they finally scored, the Caps finally scored to make it a 1-goal game right before the period ended, why add that extra jolt to the building? Flyers go into the third. 3-2 lead. Provorov joins the rush beautifully. He's the next wave in. He gets a biscuit from Jake Voracek and blistering wrister right by Holtby to take a 4-2 lead. He's got a 6 celebration. He's going on one knee. He's doing the bow and arrow. And after that, Lawton with some puck luck tries to throw it towards the blue paint. It was sort of like a cross-crease pass attempt. It hit off a defenseman and went past Holtby for a 5-2 lead, and that was it. Now, Scott Laughton, to me, he had a game. I thought the dumb penalty happened early on. He actually took another penalty later on in the game. He had the bad drop pass, but he had a huge monster hit on Orlov by the bench, and he scored a goal. So I didn't think it was his strongest game. I thought there were points where he needed to pick it up and play way better, but he also had good moments as well. I thought he was another player. Talk about getting involved emotionally with Tom Wilson. I thought Scott Laughton got involved a little emotionally too, and don't get me wrong, I think that is a key part to this game, especially in a moment like this where you're fighting for the first place in the Metropolitan, when you're going up against a team that you're going to be competing with in the playoffs. Emotions are great. Emotions are high. That's the beauty of this game when the intensity reaches an all-time high. But I do think that there's a line, and some players get over it, and it takes away from what they're able to do consistently when it comes to producing in other ways, and some players know how to just hit it at the right spot where it doesn't take away from what they do, and they still match the intensity. I thought Scott Laughton reached the line a bit, and I thought Tom Wilson reached the line a bit, which made other aspects of their game not their strongest in this specific tilt. So the PK killed off 5 power plays. Here's a list of players by the Caps that did not get on the score sheet. These are big names, by the way. Alexander Ovechkin. Have you ever heard of him? John Carlson, TJ Oshie, Kovalchuk, Backstrom, Kuznetsov. That's incredible. That's awesome. That's phenomenal. And when you talk about those power plays, too, those guys get key minutes on those power plays. That's a great job by the defense, by the special teams, by Moose. By Moose. I thought Kevin Hayes' third period could have added a bonus goal as well. He took the puck from the corner. He came across the crease, came across the slot, had Holtby beat with a wide open net to his backhand, and he just hit the outside of the post. The Caps had good scoring chances, too. There was one where Travis Konecny is in the crease and he's blocking shots while he's laying down on the ice. Moose ended up finally covering the puck. So there were chances left out there by both teams to find a way to get on the score sheet more. But it's okay. That's going to happen. There's going to be plenty of times where teams have chances and don't execute. You don't score on 100% of the chances. I'm just so proud of the way that this team has really come together in 7 straight victories. It's at the point now where people are concerned about getting too hot at the wrong time. Are they getting hot at the right time, or is this too early? Now we are nitpicking about if this is the proper time for this team to be able to put this many wins together. This is the first time in 27 years that the Flyers have won 7 straight games and scored 4 or more goals during that win streak. That's a crazy statistic. You got guys like Kevin Hayes recording multi-point nights. Provorov, multi-point nights. I mentioned aube-kubel. Voracek gets an assist. And it didn't start out pretty either, as I stated. First period, you lose James Van Riemsdyk, and it seems like Joel Farabee is going to be that third-line guy now, and there's no knock on Joel Farabee. He's got a ton of speed. I mentioned I thought it was a slap in the face when he got sent down during the trade deadline. And I talk about a multi-point night. Derek Grant as well. It's not the same as JVR, though. It's not the same. 19 goals on your third line, veteran, great IQ of the game. The power play for the Flyers has been really solid over this win streak. Not so much in this game. They only had 1 power play goal. But as a whole, it's been good. And JVR is a guy who can be put on the power play. He can just do smart things, sit in front of the net, tip pucks through. Use his body to protect the puck. I watched Kevin Hayes enter the zone, and he's protecting the puck with ease. And same with JVR. JVR is another guy who just knows how to use his body properly to defend himself with the wall and with the defenseman, and he just uses his angles properly. It's crazy, and it's a little thing that doesn't get picked up a lot and it's going to be missed. Now, you add speed with Joel Farabee, and I think Joel Farabee can add another wave, but losing JVR's goal-scoring ability is something that does concern me, and a broken hand is going to be a significant amount of time. And even whenever that time is done, when they give you that window of time, it's never exactly 100% once that time is finished. So he's going to have to battle through whenever he is capable of coming back. And speaking of injuries, I know this isn't the Flyers, but it's the NHL, and this happened the other night. Johnny Boychuk got a skate through his eyelid. I mean, it was the scariest thing I've ever seen. I don't advise you searching it on Twitter because it really makes you want to cringe and go crazy, but if you want to see it, go ahead. He had like 90 stitches on his eyelid, thank God. I mean, it was this close of the skate blade cutting through his legitimate eye. Scary, scary moment. Thank the Lord he's going to be okay. Oh, that was scary. So 5-2. This is a perfect time to take phone calls. We had a bunch of calls come in through the 24/7 Anytime hotline. The phone number is 856-442-9805. You can call in whenever you'd like about any topic, and let's start us off.
The Philadelphia Flyers beat the Washington Capitals 5-2 in a extraordinarily entertaining game. I mean, the first period was atrocious. I can't believe the Flyers came out so flat-footed like that. But to come back in the second period and the third period and play like that, man, that's signs of a good hockey team right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That is a great sign of a great hockey team. And we're talking about the Philadelphia Flyers. Hold on. Let me say this again. We are talking about the Philadelphia Flyers and great signs of a great hockey team. Am I dreaming? Please pinch me.
I know it's become an unoriginal cliche to describe Flyers victories at this point, but this really was a gritty victory for the Orange and Black tonight. I mean, heading into Washington, the division leader, and beating them by 3 goals in probably the chippiest and most physical game of the season so far, this was a statement win if there ever was one. I mean, in my opinion, this team is just clicking on all cylinders, and in my opinion, they're ready for the playoffs. They're really well coached, and they have a fantastic mixture of toughness and skill, and both great team chemistry and great physicality as well. And I never expected this team to be this good. I expected that we would be better, but not this good. And also shout out to all those crazy Flyers fans that took over Capital One Arena. Let's go Flyers indeed. Take care, Broads.
Let's go. Let's go. The physicality and how brutal this game was when it comes to hits after the whistle and being chippy and things like that. Yeah, this could be one of the most physical games this season based off of also what is on the line. As I mentioned, it's either a 1-point deficit or a 5-point deficit. So that is so big when it comes to the emotion of the game, and to see this team respond, to see this young team mixed with veterans really step up and not back down to Tom Wilson's and the physical play and the brutalness of the intensity. It was probably one of their most impressive victories of the season.
What's going on, bros? It's Vince from Chicago, and I am fired up right now. But, oh my gosh, Alain Vigneault has really taken this team by the horns and really grown this team. Our roster basically does the exact same thing as 2 years ago. I was listening to some NBC podcast today talking about how if Giroux or Voracek doesn't score in years past, that is an instant loss of the game. We are getting so much depth scoring, and it's so weird. It feels unsustainable to me, but I keep watching every game, and my eyes keep deceiving me. It's ridiculous. How do we come out in such a hostile environment and win? Either way, thank you so much, bros. Have a good one.
Isn't it funny that it seems like everyone's so amazed? And it makes sense, obviously, because no one would have projected the Flyers to go on this type of run this late of the season and be 1 point away from the Metropolitan lead. So it makes sense. But, you talk about, can they really sustain this? Is this true? Are my eyes deceiving me? And they continue to do it, and the depth scoring continues to happen. Now, you have to bring up JVR at this point when we're talking about depth scoring right now. It has to be brought up every time depth scoring is brought up. JVR has to be brought up because it is crucial. It is crucial to the reason why the top 9 is producing the way that they are. But maybe Joel Farabee can step in. I saw someone tweet at me afterwards when I mentioned the JVR injury and the broken hand. Wasn't there another team in Philadelphia that lost some players and found a way to overcome it? And now you look at the tragic event that happened to Oscar Lindblom. You look at Nolan Patrick and the migraine injury, and that would have been really insane when you look at the center position with this team and the center depth to have someone like Nolan Patrick in the mix. But you have that, and now you have JVR. Is this another how do you do when it comes to a Philadelphia squad overcoming injuries?
Hey, bros, this is Logan from Illinois. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I just finished watching that awesome Flyers game. My God, man, they are must-watch TV right now. My wife called me just a couple hours ago to let me know she was going into labor with our firstborn child. I told her she's going to have to wait. The Flyers are on. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys, I cannot miss them. And I'd have to file a complaint with the FCC because NBC should really be putting a not safe for work label on their channel when they have Derek Grant's feed to Kevin Hayes with his foot. Oh, man, that made me feel so nasty. I had to go and take a shower after that, bros. My goodness, though. Congrats on the success, man. Man, this Flyers team's really just got me hyped up, dude. Like, I cannot keep my eyes off the television when they are on, man. Keep it up, bros.
That's awesome. That is awesome. What a phenomenal call. You can hear the excitement in his voice. Just a couple episodes ago, I've stated how, you really haven't heard that type of excitement with the Flyers in so long. And now consistently you feel that type of juice. You feel that type of energy coming out of these phone calls. First off, congratulations on the kid. Second off, Flyers more important? I couldn't agree more with you.
Channeling my inner Hunter Brody again. Let's go! I mean, I don't know what else you can say about this team. I mean, to go into Washington, do what they did again after embarrassing them the last time in Washington. I mean, it's just been an incredible run. Unfortunately, the Van Riemsdyk injury looks serious. I would assume that Farabee will be back in the lineup tomorrow. But the one thing I got to say about this game, and I say it a lot regarding hockey and football, I mean, you got two teams that are fighting for first place in a playoff-like atmosphere, and the officials totally ruin the game. I mean, you have a slash to the face in the first period on the Flyer player that doesn't get called, but then you make up imaginary interferences and stuff like that. There's no flow to the game. It's just a power play fest, and hockey is a speed and flow game. These are big boys. You got to let them settle it on the ice and let the guys play. The officials should be ashamed of what they did tonight. They ruined the game with too many stops and starts, but another big win for the Flyers, but you gotta, channel it back because tomorrow's another one against Carolina.
Tomorrow is a big one, and they gotta find a way to get off the emotional high and sit back mentally and get into it. Now, you mentioned the refereeing, and it really was brutal. There was a call in the third period where Michael Raffl made a great play at the offensive blue line to hit a defenseman. The puck popped right out to the Flyers. It was an obvious turnover, and they called a hooking, and he went to the box. These calls were brutal. It's a lot easier to forget about it when the Fly guys in the orange and the black win 5-2 in such a great W. But all around, there's no denying that it was brutal. It ruined the flow of the game. And I don't understand. I can't comprehend why the refs would decide to go with a game where I'm going to blow the whistle a lot. Hey, you can't do this. Hey, you can't do that. Let them play. You allow all this extra stuff after the whistle to happen, which is very valid, but you're going to call a little hack, or you're going to call a little this. Now, there were some calls that I liked right? The high sticking and things like that. There were some calls by the Flyers that I liked as well. That play on Scott Lawton where he, in the first period, gave him a mean how do you do right by the boards. That was stupid. That was dumb. There were some good calls that you need to call, but so many phantom makeups and things like that. It's just not what I want to be discussing. And I'm not saying because you brought it up, I don't want to talk about it. I'm saying when I'm talking about a game afterwards and I'm recording a podcast, the last thing I want to talk about is the impact of the refs and how brutal they were or things like that. I want to be discussing the game. And sadly, in this game, it was brought up as a conversation because they were that bad. It's a lot easier, though, when the Flyers win to forget about it because the win is huge and the win was fun. For me to have on a Flyers jersey right now, that says a lot. The Flyers J doesn't just come out every single game. It doesn't come out easily. It comes out when that heart, that feeling in my heart is so explosive towards the orange and the black. And right now, it is that way. Thank you so much for listening. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and I will see you next time.